morning. Be the last video from New York. It's a huge day, and it looks like today should be great for getting in miles. First at 7 o'clock, so a little earlier than normal. It's cool this morning, really cool. Had a pretty good night's sleep last night. Actually stayed in the shelter, in the hammock in the shelter, but in the shelter, and actually slept okay. If my climate sleeping pad would stop deflating on me, I might actually get a full night's sleep. Got a good breakfast, ramen, some coffee. So, are you kidding me? Today should be a good one. Really looking forward to Connecticut, getting out of New York. New York was sort of a fickle bitch. In some ways it was really good, particularly towards the end. The weather was spectacular pretty much throughout. The first part of the state, the trail, both the maintenance and the design were tough, but I guess in some ways those characteristics will help us when we're farther up north with the rock climbs and stuff. So, man, should be an excellent day, guys. Should be an epic day. Looks like New York is going to leave us peacefully. Beautiful woodlands this morning. Beautiful. Well, New York is a beautiful state. I mean, I don't think that's lost on anybody. I think New Jersey was really sort of more of the surprise for me. For some reason, I just didn't think that northwestern part of New Jersey was so beautiful. But of course we know New York, other than the big population centers, so much of it with the Mohawk River Valley, Hudson River Valley, which of course is built up more, Adirondacks. So much of that area has some great woodlands to it, and we have certainly gone up a stretch that I had never been on or through. This is an area of New York I had never seen. It too has some real charm to it, but like everything else, there is pleasure and there is pain. Turn around, Spider. Say goodbye to New York and hello to Connecticut.
Oh my goodness, we're finally here.
Gateway to New England. Not surprisingly, Connecticut coming in looks like New York going out. That sort of brings me a little bit to the moment of I was sort of reflecting on New York and said, you know, what struck me about New York? There were some very positive things. For me personally, I really liked the sort of rock climbing where you were doing tactile, if not sort of, you're not doing technical climbs, but something in between. Those were challenging and fun. Near the end, the last day, it must be a different Appalachian club because the blazes were marked much better and clearer and newer, and junctions marked better and things. So I don't know if there's two different clubs, but certainly the day going out of New York was great. There's a great farmers market there, about a little bit more than halfway through. It was nice to be able to get breakfast or lunch or something at a number of the sort of delis or sandwich shops along the way through. So there were some certainly conveniences and niceties about New York. The weather was very good. I would say, we often talk about PUDs, right? Pointless ups and downs. And I would say, if anything describes New York, overall, it's pointless. I would say in New York, more so than in any other state, you saw impromptu blue blazes around sort of rock piles that the AT had you hike over. And there'd just be a path that goes around them. I mean, that's how obvious it was that it was done just for whatever reason. I guess, again, for a section hiker or a day hiker, those things can make a memorable trip. Those sort of challenging rock faces or whatever, and rock scrambles. But for the through hiker who's been through so many and so much, particularly the Nobos at this point, or at that point, I guess, now that I'm in the 10th state, you could see where people were just walking around it. And I dare say those were through hikers. But we'll see. At the end of the day, it's another state down. It was part of the journey. And a lot of people said, I'll never come back here. I sort of felt that way about Pennsylvania, although I loved 2/3 of Pennsylvania. I really did. I felt that the trail was managed really well with the blazes and just the trail conditions and everything. I actually enjoyed about 2/3 of it. It was only the end, and at the end of the day, the glaciers came down, and that was the terminus of the glaciers, and it just left this, destruction. This devastation of the land. Speaking of that, although it didn't happen in PA, I'm kind of surprised. Hey, a big shout out and prayer for Sleeves, who took apparently a fairly nasty fall in Maryland and cracked his tibia. But listen to this. This is even more amazing and speaks to the constitution of Sleeves. He hiked for 100 miles on a broken tibia. Can you imagine that? Think about that. Let that settle in. In Pennsylvania, he hiked for 100 miles on a broken tibia. Let me tell you, these folks out here, they come from every walk of life. They come from, every sort of imaginable background and foreground and future and past. And these people have a constitution, have a determination, have an independence that is remarkable. Sleeves, are you kidding me? He was an inspiration as a through hiker. I learned so much from him as far as efficiency of setup, breakdown of camp, sort of hiking style, hiking profile. And he will come back. I promise you, he will come back. And he's got this whole community in Georgia that's, rooting for him. So here's to you, Sleeves. And it was good talking to RTK yesterday. I haven't talked to him in a bit. He's down at the Delaware Water Gap and carrying on, doing great. Yeah, he's got some interesting trail ahead. And he too will succeed and move forward. So I really I don't hope that I'll have some sort of problem that causes me to slow down, but I do hope that somehow our paths will cross again on this windy, rock-strewn trail. I hate to say it, but apparently Connecticut has rocks too. And this downhill has been a rough one. Really has. Oh, yeah, we're like 2 miles out from the, I think is it 321 or 231 Connecticut? It goes into Kent. So Spider is not into it today. We were doing great at the very start, but then the truth of the matter is that we're exhausted. That's the truth of the matter. She hasn't taken the 0 since, I think, Harper's Ferry. I took a 0 in Delaware Gap since Harper's Ferry. But even that was quite a while ago. But 1 0, the Neros going in and out, it doesn't really matter that you're sleeping in, a bed. The fact of the matter is you're getting up the next day and back out here doing real miles, because we're not even doing Neros. We've been doing 20s. And I don't mean we as in she and I, because we haven't always been together. I'm talking about the group, of which we're both a member. Have been doing 23s, 25s, 20s, just day after day after day. And the truth of the matter is, we're going to get ourselves sick. Hey guys. Okay, so we came down to the trailhead there at, again, I don't know if it's 321, 231, something like that, at Kent, Connecticut, and went into town. There is a little, used to be an outfitter. Now it's mostly a little gift shop. It does have ice cream, and it has some few outfitting supplies. Some dehydrated meals, bear spray, some other little hiking things. Not a lot of stuff for through hikers except for the dehydrated meals, frankly. People are commenting about how expensive it is, and it is expensive, the whole town. They have an IGA. It's close enough to walk, but it's at the other end of the town. But it's close enough to walk. It's not a bad little town. The biggest problem is, reasonably you can't really stay there. I mean, I am certainly willing to pay for a hotel, motel, and have, but this is definitely where it gets expensive. And we happen to hit it on a Friday, and the weekend rates are even higher. So it's like $175 for a friggin' room. You know, that's a lot. I mean, $175, do you really need to stay for $175? But I'm telling you what, I'll tell you straight up and honest. I came down to that trailhead with 100% intention of not just staying overnight there, but zeroing. Caleb's Peak is the name of this overlook. And let me tell you, the road, the path that leads to it is a miserable, unmerciful, rock-strewn son of a bitch. So, Connecticut starts off nice and easy. It gets more and more rocky and challenging as you approach 341. Of course, this is Nobo. Then going down to 341, it's steep, but the trail isn't so bad. But the climb up to, you know, that descent is rocky and challenging. On the other side of 341, so north of 341, is a field. Then you get up in to the mountains or the hills. It isn't too bad. It's better than it was south of 341 until you cross Smith Mountain Road. And after you cross Smith Mountain Road, Skiff Mountain Road, you go up towards Caleb's Peak. And it is a climb. It's a tough climb. Coming down here, you saw that little bit of rock, no big deal. Down through here, sort of a water course, so the condition of the trail isn't great. It's very eroded, and this tends to be very hard on the feet. So yeah, Caleb's Peak is a miserable damn spot. I showed you the picture of it, or from it. I mean, it's a pretty little spot, but let me tell you something, it ain't worth this. I really don't want to go down here. It's a blue blaze to an overlook. But I look out here and I see this pretty valley and a river that runs through it, and I say, you know, I've got to give Connecticut its due. It's only like 51 miles. And give it a fair shot. It's my fault that it's 5 o'clock and I still have 5 miles to go, and I'm gonna get in late. So this is the view from St. John's Ledges.
know if you can appreciate how steep that is, or how far these drops are. But let me tell you, the only positive thing I can say about these miserable things is that at least I'm not trying to go up them. Yeah, I can't dare keep you going with me. Because I seriously, oh my God. I mean, I'm telling you, these, you don't realize it, but, well, I mean, there's the poles right there. The entire length of them. I know it's completely absurd, since Spider's frankly a better hiker than I am, but we're only not even halfway down this descent to the, I guess, Housatonic or Housatonic River, down from St. John's Cliffs. And it is so dangerous for me at 5'10" that I'm not comfortable leaving her coming down just by herself. I mean, yeah, it's not like I can help her, but I don't know. It's just a different generation. I can't. Yeah. I gotta wait. So I'm gonna just chill. It's not like I'm going anywhere really without her. We're gonna get into the shelter at the same time. And God knows she'll probably try to push me onto the campgrounds even further. But I will be comfortable with 20 miles at the shelter. We'll just see. But apparently she's quite a ways behind me. I thought she would be up to me by now, because I've been sitting here for a bit actually. Just decided to come up and shoot a video since I was waiting. Give you a shot of the Housatonic River. Can't get great photo views on this river, but this turns into just a beautiful body of water with some rapids down below. It's just hard to get any sort of view because of course the trees come right up to it, so I'm sorry about that. I'd really love to show it to you because it sounds so nice, so peaceful. Here's a bit of a vantage point. Gotta give you a little bit of a sense. Beautiful river. What a nice flow it has. Little rapids there.